Gian Giacomo Ermatora. I come from Italy. I work and I live in Italy actually, and I work for a company that is called Emerasoft, that is Polarion partner for Italy, for this country. We decided 3 years ago to build an integration from Enterprise Architect to Polarion, basically because Enterprise Architect is the leader for all the visual modeling and design and all the standards for example UML and all the structure like this. Enterprise Architect is distributed from the Spark System. Spark System is a company based in Australia and is the absolutely leader for the design and modeling and all the things like that. So we decided to make this integration. At the beginning, we made the integration that was called Elite version, light version. It was free, but still not available right now, because we decided to create another extension after the success we had with EAPO 1.0, because we had more than 100 customer feedback just in 1 year that the EAPO was available, more than 250 downloads, and more than 50 requests from potential free customer. And for free customer, we identified a customer that needs to have something more than EAPO 1.0, because the EAPO 1.0 had some characteristics, but it was not so, let me say, usable and a good tool like EAPO right now. In 2013, we decided to build. Yes, now we are in 2014, but this presentation was made just last year. We made the EAPO in version 2.0, and basically the commercial version, the EAPO 2, basically is called also the EAPO Professional Edition, have some very nice characteristics. For example, the ability to export the packages inside the Enterprise Architect, the ability to select and export specific elements, diagram, and packages, and something like a preview mode and a wizard that is very, very nice for the final user. EAPO 2.0 is a quite big success right now, and I would like to show you this kind of integration. Nick told me about that. You basically already know something about the Polarion, the product we have, and so I will step directly to the Enterprise Architect and not in deep in Polarion. Basically, this project you're watching it on your screen is a demo project I made on my virtual machine, on my Windows virtual machine, and this project is based on a template that is already available in 2014 install. So we have some definition about, for example, system requirements, software requirements, test case, mechanical requirements, and all of the things like that. Maybe you already know some this template and the structure. We already have also some work items inside. I will not delete anything. I will keep the project as is, as Polarion created it 10 minutes ago. And my goal is to use my Enterprise Architect project and to export all the items and all the diagrams I have on my Enterprise Architect inside my Polarion. Basically, the integration is the direction of this integration is from Enterprise Architect to Polarion. Actually, we decided to use this kind of structure, this kind of direction, because Enterprise Architect basically is at the beginning of the model, when some high-level requirements are defined in Enterprise Architect, the people take charge to create the design of the structure or the requirement itself, and then this object, this generic object, we have also customer that in Enterprise Architect create test case are imported in Polarion. And in Polarion, all the objects that comes from Enterprise Architect are live. So basically, how the process in the V model start to the life cycle of the project itself. Enterprise Architect, maybe someone of you already know the tool. Is a desktop tool, so it's not a web tool, and can support all the types of the elements and diagrams you would like to use. In my project, I can hear some noise. Okay. Basically, I created a project where I have some elements inside, some diagrams inside, and some packages. The packages for Enterprise Architect basically are this kind of icon that is basically a container of other elements. Like in the structure, we have the first one that is a diagram. Then we have a package that is more than basic that contains inside other diagrams and all the stuff like that. And in Enterprise Architect, it's possible to define several levels of elements and several types of objects. All these objects can be imported, or we can select just a subset of them to be imported in Polarion. This integration is currently integrated inside the interface. So if I go to extensions, and we will have a menu invoice that is Polarion integration with 3 functions: the export to Polarion, the import from Polarion, and of course the about the project. The export to Polarion is basically the main functionality that EAPO provides to the user. Everything is based, this interface is based as a kind of wizard. So we have to complete the information here, and just with next, the process will go ahead for all the steps before to export the elements to Polarion. This interface is quite simple. I would like to underline one thing, because we missed right now to place a button like help, but just pressing F1, there is a really nice documentation when you can take a look at how to use Enterprise Architect, because it's of course made for usability, the interface and all this stuff like that. But many times we had some questions from the final users that can be resolved directly inside the documentation. So just pressing F1 when you have EAPO opened, and you will get immediately the online guide that is very, very helpful. I suggest you just take a look before to use this plugin. So in the first interface, the EAPO asks to provide information for the connection to the Polarion. Why this? Because all the information are dynamically loaded from Polarion. What I mean, I will explain visually immediately. So the first information asked is the server URL. Actually, I am on the same server, so my server will be just the local host. I can come back to my EAPO. So here, local host, the server port is important, and of course, the position of the repository, the version repository of your Polarion install. The system asks us the project ID, the username, and the password of a real user, and this is very important. The username and password is the username, the same user and password you use in Polarion. So here I will provide just the default information, admin, and the password, admin here. And the project ID should be marked not like the project name that is here, but the project ID should be taken directly in this section, and this is the ID of the project for this synchronization. Oh, Okay. So then here, I'll place EAPO. It is possible to set the connection to be reused because many times happen that it's very helpful to synchronize many times, many projects, or basically make some changes on Enterprise Architect project, and you would like just to synchronize to the modification, this kind of modification inside your project. So you can set the connection to be reused. Actually, we find an issue. This is a little information for you about this functionality, because in some operating systems happens that the active user that try to set the connection doesn't have the grant on the internal database. So we're going to release another minor release of Enterprise Architect that will fix this kind of issue. Then after that, of course the connection saved will appear here, and the saved connection at least be reused in time. Here we have two buttons that are very helpful. I suggest you all the time to test the connection you're going to use, and this is very important because the system will try to get not only the connection to the server but also the project ID. So if we made some errors, some mistakes defining in the project ID, the test connection will underline us immediately the error form. And of course, this proxy setting is quite easy, and it's very important in the situation when we have Polarion behind a proxy, or the connection is not direct to the server. In my case, of course, I have just a virtual machine, so this is not helpful for me. So the second interface asks us to select an existing database or create a new mapping database. This step is very important because define if we are synchronizing, we are exporting the elements in Enterprise Architect the first time, in case we select the new mapping, or we are going just to synchronize the Enterprise Architect object to Polarion. So in this case, we will select an existing mapping. Right now, we don't have any kind of mapping, and the mapping basically is the relation that we have between one element inside Enterprise Architect and one more type we have in our Polarion project. The mapping is very easy to create. So, new mapping, the system asks us where to save the mapping itself, and to provide a name for the mapping. Mapping demo save. Okay. When I press next, the system, the EAPO, is loading all this structure, the tree structure we can see in the project browser inside Enterprise Architect, and it's providing us some information about the type of elements we have in our project, the AA type that is quite different. If you are already expert for Enterprise Architect, you may already know that the type of elements in Enterprise Architect made basically three kind of elements. The package, so basically this kind of orange icon, and an element that can be, for example, let me just open one. This is a diagram. This is an element, for example, and the third kind of element we may have is just a diagram, and a diagram is basically this one, so a picture, an image that in Enterprise Architect, of course, is dynamic and is created using the elements that we have defined in our project. This mapping allow us to map all the elements we have inside our project to the elements we may have in our Polarion project. Do you remember that in the first interface we selected the server, we selected the project? Then in this interface, the information about the project, the information about the work item types are immediately loaded, dynamically loaded here in this interface, where we can map all the elements and between the two environments. As you can see, here we have the project models. That is basically the first element. We have all the blocks in Enterprise Architect are divided in models, so we can have one model or more than one model in the same project. That basically is a container of packages and a container of diagrams and elements itself. And so EAPO is also able to have and to show you multiple models here. And the first model will be mapped as a package, is mapped as a package in Enterprise Architect, and will be mapped as a Polarion type like ED. As you may know, in Polarion we have many possibilities to define a specific work item type. But one basic work item type is, of course, the eating. The eating is basically the eating inside the document. Polarion introduced the eating work item type, or probably at the end of 2010, when the live documents were introduced, and we decided that by default, the packages inside the Enterprise Architect will be mapped in the eating, just to provide to the user an easy way to have all the elements, all the structure in both environments. But it's possible also to define another kind of mapping for all the elements we have shown here in the element tree. How to do that? For example, eating is fine for me. I would like to just map them as eating, but I would like to map this diagram that is. This is not a diagram. Let me find a diagram here. For example, this customer order, that in Polarion, I would like to make it like a design object or something like that. Just clicking here, EAPO will load dynamically all the work item types we have in our project we selected in the first interface. So in this case, I can directly, for example, map it like electrical requirements, system requirements is fine for me. If I select a Polarion type on my tree, the system will ask me if I would like to map all the elements typed in Enterprise Architect, like diagram and collaboration. So the system will analyze the both key diagram and collaboration as the system requirement I selected here. If I press yes, the system will load again all the tree and all the items that in Enterprise Architect has the type of element like diagram and a package, a head type as collaboration will be mapped as system requirements. So I can do the same also for example, this kind of object. This is not a diagram, this is just an element. And I can select here, for example, I don't know, for example, a task. And for elements, the system will ask the same kind of question or discussed before. So if I would like to map all the elements in the same mode, but it's also possible to make an advanced mapping. Why this? Because as you may know, in Polarion, we have the possibility to add some information for all the work item types that basically are the custom fields, where I can specify, for example, another information that enrich my structure. The same I can do in Enterprise Architect. In Enterprise Architect, the custom fields are called a tagged value. The tagged value is basically a structure key and value that I can assign to a specific object. In this case, I don't have any kind of tagged value in my Enterprise Architect, so in my Enterprise Architect object, so I don't have the possibility to map a custom field directly in my project. So I select yes, and as you can see, some elements are mapped in the same way. I would like to just take a look how many elements we selected. Okay, package heading. I can unselect some elements just to have a light export that will not take a lot of time to export all the structure in Polarion. Okay. This project is quite huge, so I have many elements. Okay. Okay. As you can see, all the packages are immediately marked as reading and marked also to be exported in Polarion. Okay, so after that, I guess I will have a lot of elements. Just pressing next, the system will collect all the items I selected. Okay, we have 93 elements totally. The system is creating the diagram, this diagram, and this one will be imported in Polarion. The process can take a lot of time. It's depending on two things basically. The quality, let me say, of your computer. You're running Enterprise Architect and EAPO. The connection between your computer and the server, and of course the Polarion server current load. In this moment, we are exporting 93 elements, so it will take a bit of time, but not so much. Meanwhile, sorry. Meanwhile, I can take a look at the project, and yeah, I would like them just to see 2, 3, 4 elements. 2, 3, 9. As you can see here, the number of the item are increasing because the system is exporting the items and committing the item in Polarion. Okay. Consider that actually I am on a laptop, and this desktop you are watching is just my virtual machine, so the speed is related to, of course, I'm not on a real machine. I have just something like 4 GB or less of memory. Okay. Currently exporting everything. Finally, after the items are created in Polarion, the item will be linked together. This is one of the best feature that EAPO 2.0 has instead of the later version, the first version we released. And it's very important because the first version we're able only to export the items in a, let me say, flat way, so without any kind of relationship between items. But we decided to improve this functionality in the version 2.0, in particular to have a relationship between items. And so the same relationship we have between elements in Enterprise Architect are exported and are the same you can see inside your Polarion project. By default, the relationship is defined as related to kind of the type of linkage is related to. So the export finished with success, and inside Enterprise Architect we can see this table that is basically the results of the export with all the elements we exported. As you can see, there are a lot of headings because I didn't unselected some of them, but here we have the elements that we are interested to use inside the project. Basically, the system exported the book list we selected as elements as object inside Enterprise Architect, and the Polarion type is created as issue. Okay, this is the specifically the work item ID type is not the description, is the ID type. So inside this interface, we can do the follow operation. First of all, we can take a look at all the elements exported, of course. And so then we have also two buttons here. One that is able to open the item inside Enterprise Architect. This is nice. Just take a look, for example, at the diagram. It's the diagram, which kind of diagram we had inside the Enterprise Architect. And the second button is able to also to open the Polarion, but it's able to open Polarion inside the Enterprise Architect itself. This is a feature we decided to implement in this way because the Enterprise Architect user, all the people that were already user of Enterprise Architect will work in the same environment that they are used to work in. So they don't have to open Polarion or web browser or something like that. They can work directly inside the same interface. This is the export. This is the work item 506. You can also see here is the same actually. And the EAPO created an image with the same diagram we had in Enterprise Architect, and some information were exported inside the project, like the author, like the creation time of the object, and all this kind of information came from directly from Enterprise Architect. Then at the bottom we have also the link to Enterprise Architect. So following this link, the system is able to open directly the diagram. So I can be also here, and it's the same because I can directly, yes, I can immediately open the diagram inside Enterprise Architect. Okay. The same for, of course, for the items and all the objects we had are immediately exported in Polarion. Following my configuration, the EAPO exported all the fields inside the description of the work item. I can decide also to map all this information like a custom field, just not to have all this kind of this inside the description. Imagine, for example, for a diagram that we would like to have inside, I don't know, a document or something like that. It's very unhelpful and a bit annoying, let me say, to have all this kind of information inside just inside the table. So if you are in EAPO and press F1, the system asks you if you would like to map the items directly in the custom field, and the way to do that is just to create. Let me just find where point is in the document. If you would like to specify inside your Polarion project the custom field, and the EAPO will recognize automatically that the custom field exists in your project, And all the information you can see here inside the description will be imported immediately in the custom field. The way to do that is very easy, and basically you can do that inside your install of Enterprise Architect here, Emerasoft, and inside here you have the XML that is the definition for the custom field inside Polarion. You can import this file in Polarion, and so dynamically the system will recognize that all this kind of information should map directly inside a custom field instead of be shown here inside the description. Well, this is the first export. So right now my process has success. I exported some elements inside my my project, and now I can start the collaboration. I can start to work to my diagram, my elements I exported from EAA to Polarion. I can work inside Polarion. So for example, if I open my diagram, another user, imagine a situation where an architect define the elements, define the object inside the Enterprise Architect, and requirement manager should approve or disapprove or change the status basically of an item, can decide, okay, this item is fine, the description is correct, all the diagram is right. I can approve the item, review it, and I can also add some comments here just to say, okay, for me the diagram is right. Save. So I can directly use my elements here inside, and so then the EAPO can take can synchronize the information about the status and eventual comments that someone placed on the element inside Polarion to perform the let me say the workflow to collaborate between different persons. So in my example, I simulate that a designer creates an object inside my Enterprise Architect, then export the object, export the diagram to Polarion, and then a requirement manager accepts the item, modify the status, and add a comment. And so now the designer can take a look at the differences at the status of the item using directly the EAPO. So this user can go to the extension Polarion integration and then import to Polarion. The process will be basically the same we used before. So we have to specify the server, APU, admin here, just a test connection, then next, and now the system in the second interface asks us to for an existing mapping. This is because in the first export we created the item in Polarion. Right now we have to just to take the information from Polarion back to Enterprise Architect to know the status, the process, and in my example, if my diagram has been accepted or commented or something like that. So here I have to pick up my database. My database was stored in my desktop, and this is the one. Open it. Next. And then the system gets for all the elements we had in the mapping, for all the items that are in Polarion, for all the items that I have in my Enterprise Architect, the difference for new comments or new status we have in our Polarion. So this is very helpful for the designer that are able immediately to know if the process go ahead, if some object has issue or something like that, and can take the information back inside the same interface. And from here, I can immediately do the same things that can do after the export. So can open in Polarion the object, taking a look if the diagram, for example, in this case, is being accepted, or can add itself also some information like comments and something like that, also in the same Polarion. In case something should be modified, it can do that. It can open the diagram. It can modify the diagram in some way. For example, maybe it is locked in some way. Oh, probably yes. Can add. Is it locked? Oh yeah, locked diagram. So can modify something in our diagram, save it, and then after this modification, of course, then our goal will be to synchronize back this modification to our Polarion. As I told you at the beginning of my presentation, Enterprise Architect is quite, let me say, the master of the process in this case, because the diagramming and the structure are delegated just inside the Enterprise Architect. If I modify something in Polarion, like the description, like the diagram itself, it will not be synchronized back in Enterprise Architect. But Enterprise Architect is the master, so in this way I can come back to my Polarion integration. I can select in the first time the export to Polarion, and I can provide the same information. Localhost, EAPO, admin, test connection. Oops. Local host. Okay, fine. And if you remember this interface during the first export, I told you that it's possible to select an existing database or to create a new one. The first time we created a new one. Right now we had to select an existing one just because we would like to synchronize and not to create other items in Polarion. So we can pick up an existing mapping and back to our database. So then next, the system will load again all the script structure we have seen at the beginning. But as you will see, when the system will load it, you can see that some lines are in a different color. And this is because these items are already exported in our Polarion. As you can see, here the orange, pink, as depends on the screen, are underlined. So it means that this element is already present in Polarion and will be also updated again. Updated again because Enterprise Architect, as I told you, is the master. So all the modification I can do inside the interface are during the synchronization, during the export, are immediately replaced in Polarion. And this is valid for the custom fields that are defined for Enterprise Architect and Polarion, or in my case, the description, the title, and the content of the description. This is very important. So it doesn't matter if you modify the description will be overwritten when I perform this kind of operation. So that resynchronization to Polarion. But the nice thing is that in this process, I can also select additional elements to be exported in Polarion. For example, now I would like to create these, like, for example, a risk. Yes, map all the items like that. and so I can go to next, and the system will export back all my items again to my Polarion. During the synchronization process, that basically is the same we saw during the first export. It will take a bit of time as before. I would like to talk to you about where it's possible to get the extension. It's possible to get the extension on our website, www.emerasoft.com. The website right now is just in Italian language, but in the product Polarion software there is the EAPO. There are also some other projects and some other products we have. Basically, EAPO is available for the download here, and you can get also the 30-day full functionality trial version, where it's possible to do all the operation that I did. And the system will, after the download of the extension, will create for you a license with a very simple wizard that will go to our website and allow you to create the license in case of issue, in case of any kind of question you may have about the integration,